we're going to get started. It's 6 o'clock. Thank you for coming. Help yourself to more handouts.
Or are you putting attachments when you send this out? Because then I wouldn't
Yeah, I'll
need to
attach it.
mail it to her.
He will attach.
Okay. And I don't
You
need
can
to
still
mail it
take
to
it.
her.
We do have two. Thanks.
All right. You know, every time we go to Israel, which this will be the third, so it's not like that many times, but every group is different. And so it'll be a unique experience that we'll have together. And you're only part of the group. You know, there's another large portion that will be part of this group too. As we get started, so I'm recording this just so you know, the camera is actually facing me, not you, though I can switch it very easily. And
So behave.
and then I'll email out a link. I'll post this on YouTube and then email a link. And then these brochures and things that I handed out tonight will also attach. All right, let's pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the gift that you give us of our faith, and also especially the places we can visit that enhance and help us grow in faith. The places that have been discovered in the Holy Land, the archaeology that's gone on there, the being able to walk where you walked, and experience too just the place where you gave your life for us on the cross and rose from the dead, and the place where you were born, and the ministry that took place throughout this region. So guide our preparations, Lord, for this Holy Land experience, and especially this faith journey that we're going to be on together in January. Bless our meeting tonight, and may any questions and things that people might have on their minds just be answered also this evening. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, we're just going to go around and introduce ourselves because I'm guessing not everybody knows exactly everybody that's here. Unless it's you, Mike, maybe. But we'll just go around and start with Ben and just introduce yourself. I don't know, whatever you want to say about yourself.
Ben. I work
Hi, Ben.
at Vaughan night shift.
He's been the youngest coming on our trip.
Ben, you are,
Probably.
congratulations. Yes.
So, very adventurous. I'm Shelley, Dave's wife. I'm the sub-host, or co-host. Co-host.
You're a hostess.
Hostess. And I was Ben's first grade teacher many years ago. No, I'm not teaching, but anyway.
I'm Joni Peterson.
I'm just going to turn this around so then people can match names and faces.
Okay.
This is Ben,
Oh, there we go.
Shelley, there we go. And now Joni, go. Sorry for
Joni
interrupting.
Peterson. Oh, let's see. Retired? I don't know. I wanted to go on the last 2 trips that were proposed, so 3 times a charm, I guess, huh? I'm anxious. I'm very anxious to go. It'll be wonderful.
I'm Carol Strader. I just got asked last Wednesday if I wanted to go yet, because there was an opening. So I'm very happy that I can go.
Fantastic. Newest member to the group.
Yeah.
And Nora.
Yeah, Nora too.
Jeff Bain, retired,
Sort of.
kinda.
Not really.
Jeff's wife, Jennifer, me.
Sarah Stair.
And Dan Stair, and we went on the trip 6 years ago. And it was good.
Dan Hannes, retired electrician, and my wife is over there. You'll see in just a moment.
Peggy Hannes, retired, well done. Well done.
Mike Keene, jobless. My wife Kathy is coming with, and looking forward to the experience.
Bob Bender, traveled many places, but never to this area of the world, so you knew.
And you guys know each other.
I worked with Mike for 17, 18 years. Something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, good. You have a connection.
Very
Vicky Bender, Bob's wife, retired nurse.
Gene Plowman, retired. Looking very excitedly forward to this trip. I was to Wausau once.
You're really expanding your horizons.
Oh my gosh.
Narrow a lot of times.
Mary Plowman, Jean's wife.
And not retired.
And not
Okay, thanks everybody for doing that. So at least,
You did do that?
yeah, she was first.
Oh, you were first. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
By the way,
I was
Shelley's,
asking you questions.
I always get into trouble. I'm
No,
so
no,
sorry.
I apologize, I was
So
probably
don't
asking
sit
a
by me on
question.
the bus.
I can just tell you this is gonna be a wild trip already. So Shelley's in charge of relationships for this trip. I'm the logistical person. So, yes, she's gonna be helping all of us bond more. Do you have a get to know you game that you wanted to do? I'm just kidding. No. All right. Ben, did you want to do a get to know you game tonight? All right, so tonight I just want to go through some basic stuff. I handed out that brochure, the FAQ brochure from Imagine Tours, and this is also a attachment on the email when you guys get the email with the link to this video. So I talked to the tour agency just a couple days ago, just to make sure I had all the facts correct. And I was trying to remember back from 6 years ago, some of the things, because it's hard to remember anything pre-COVID. Like, what was life really like back then, right? So then our tour agent, his name is Andrew, he sent me this brochure. He said, usually we don't send these out till like 3 weeks or 4 weeks before the trip, but since you guys are having a meeting, I'll give it to you now, and maybe this answers some of the questions people have. So that's this in your guide to enjoyable travel. So I'm going to go through this brochure. Then I have some other things that I'm going to go through. We brought some things for you to look at if you want to over here. But let's just go through this list and then we'll answer your questions and so forth, okay? So passport. Everybody except I think only 2 people on the trip have not made a copy of their passport and turned it into Imagine Tours. So all of you who are here tonight did that, so thank you for doing that. So that's taken care of. Always carry your passport with you. Do not put passports in checked luggage. Passports are required for all international travel. I'm trying to think. Some of you have been overseas and so you kind of know this routine a little bit, but I think what I did is I carried it on a holder in a lanyard and carried it under my shirt. Maybe between a couple layers of what I was wearing. So some of you maybe have done it that way. Yeah, they sell them. You can look online. Just a little passport carrier, maybe just around your neck. That seems to be a good way to do it because you know where it's at all the time, right there.
Yeah, we had for one, when we went to Germany, Joe would put it inside of his shirt, that he carried both of mine. I mean, on his and mine.
Yeah, so right, if you've been on other tours, they maybe did it that way too. Imagine Tours is not gonna provide that for you that I know of. So I would say look for something maybe online or if you go to a travel store, I don't know, wherever. And it says it's also a good idea to keep a copy of your passport in your luggage. So a copy, just a paper copy. I asked about that, and what they suggested was to not put that in your checked luggage, but in your carry-on. If a passport is lost, the nearest American consul should be advised immediately and a replacement requested. I'm trying to think, on one of our trips that happened to somebody, didn't they? On one of the Israel trips? I don't think it was the one it wasn't anybody that we were in charge of.
No,
Because our people were prepared.
they were prepared.
But it was somebody else from another group, or maybe it was maybe somebody from that other group that went with us last time. So we had kind of two groups that went together last time because they both weren't real big, so they combined us. But somebody had to go to the American consulate and get that figured out. I don't remember who, but. So may that not be you. Bring your passport. Another idea though, which I put in an email and they replied back, is just take a picture of it. You can keep it on your phone. You can do the same thing with your driver's license. You know, just keep a picture, take a picture, keep it on your phone. Then you got another copy right there. Health. Oh, by the way, any questions? Passport.
I have one.
Yes.
It said in this brochure that they will.
Did you read ahead?
No. I don't know how to read, but about visas, do we need any kind of visas, or is that all taken care of?
It's all taken care of. You do not need a special visa to get into Israel.
Okay.
One thing I did read in here was that they don't stamp your passport when you go through customs at Israel. They give you a little slip of paper. I read that in here somewhere. And then you have to hang on to that until you leave. So put it in your passport and leave it there. And maybe, I know in some countries, it might have been in Israel last time, I don't know, where they kind of taped it in. Shelley will have some tape. So if you want to just tape it in your passport, then you got it and you won't lose it. But they probably aren't going to do that for you, but just they'll give you a little slip of paper and you got to stick it in there.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah.
with the passports, are you not, okay, so when you go from Israel to Jordan, are you not supposed to have them stamped in your passport from Israel or something? I heard some kind of a goofy thing about.
I don't know about that,
Okay.
but I will tell you this, they will tell us exactly what to do.
Okay, very good.
They're not on our own.
First of all, the tour people will tell us what to do. The tour guide knows. I mean, they do this all the time. The tour guide we have in Israel will not be the tour guide we have in Jordan. Okay, we'll switch, and the same is true when we go to Bethlehem because that's Palestinian territory. So when we go through the checkpoint, well, actually that day when we go to Bethlehem, Olga will not get on the bus with us. When we get to there's a gate we go through, and then that's when our tour guide meets us and gets on the bus. And then we'll have a different tour guide for Bethlehem, and then we'll have a different tour guide for Jordan, because it's a different country. But they know, they have this all figured out, and again, they do this particular tour that we're doing, which I think everybody that's here is going to Jordan also. This is a regular tour for them, this
So-
extra 3-day extension.
Just to say that, let's say we know we're supposed to have our passport stamped or get this little tag, okay? Once you're through right away, make sure it is stamped, because he didn't one time in India, and that was a long ordeal, so.
Yeah,
So yes, it's good to make sure whatever we're all
Yes.
supposed to be doing, double check it, and that's a good lesson we learned. Right?
that's a good point.
Right, honey?
So Shelley and my other assistants will be making sure you're all good with your passports and stuff.
What this is dancing around too is I was told by my family physician, if you fly into Israel and they stamp your passport, you can no longer at that time ever get into Iraq, Iran, because they don't like Israel. So that was it. So a lot of people go to Jordan first and then they travel over into Israel, but that's kind of what we're doing.
Well, that may be why they turn around and give you the piece of paper.
Exactly, yep, because if you're stamped, they won't, not that I ever plan on going there, but.
Yeah, that's not on the itinerary.
Yep.
Iran,
I don't want.
Iraq. Yeah, so, by the way, India is very different from Israel. And I think, I said this to some of you already with other questions, but Israel is a modern country. Israel is like going to Europe in many ways. They are a modern Western nation. They are, they have a lot of business there. They have a lot of technology business is one of their big things. They do a lot of security business because they've had to defend themselves since 1945 against surrounding nations that declared war on them. So they've got the security thing down well. When you land in the airport and you go into the airport in the Ben Huron airport, I mean, you're going to see soldiers with machine guns. That's just normal. And you will see them in Jerusalem, especially because that's, you have a mixture there in Jerusalem of Jewish people, Islamic people, Christians. I mean, those are the three major religions that all consider Jerusalem a holy city. And there's kind of this peace that exists between them, especially in the old city of Jerusalem where we're going to be, where we see all the historic sites. By the way, they want tourists. All these groups want tourists. This is how they make their money. So whether they're Muslim or they're Christian or they're Orthodox or Jewish, Orthodox Jews, or a lot of Jews today in Israel are just secularists. They're really 10% of the Jewish population is Orthodox Jew. Those are the ones that wear the garb, and have the kind of curly Q coming down their sideburns and their hats on. And you'll see them especially in the old city when you go to the Wailing Wall. You're going to see a lot of Orthodox there. But most of the population of Israel is not that way. They're a lot like Americans, which is kind of non-religious, secularists, want to be modern people. So anyway, I think that's good if you have fears about, we're going to this country and, are we safe? By the way, I asked that question since I brought it up to the tour guide this week, and I said, hey, we've been reading about this unrest. Hi, Jane. Because of, here's a couple handouts for you. Because if you guys have read the news, there's this unrest because Netanyahu changed the rules about the Supreme Court, and now there's protests because of that. If you paid attention to the political thing. I just happened to pull out a newspaper. This is the Jerusalem Post from 6 years ago. Netanyahu questioned an investigation of Prime Minister. And then somebody's burning a tire, which I don't know where that was. It was in one of the Palestinian territories. So this has been going on. If you followed Israel politics at all, there's been there's a power struggle been going on for years and years about him being prime minister, and he seems to be exerting more authority, and people get upset. So here's the response from the tour company, in case you're wondering about that. Nothing has affected our tours, so tourism has gone on as per usual. But yes, Israel is very safe. Safety is a top priority at Imagine Tours. So we are always watching the schools. And if they're sending their children to school, then it is safe for our groups to travel. So that's kind of one thing they keep their eye on, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know that. But the other thing, because they're in this country, and the other thing about Israel, I was going to say is, here's the map of Israel. It kind of looks big on this map. But it's the size of New Jersey, okay? Or the northern half of Wisconsin, counting the UP. That's how big Israel is. So you have all of this stuff going on in a very kind of small geographic area. And everybody knows everybody. They're all connected, and they know when there's a place that's not safe to go. And so, for instance, we do not go to Gaza. We don't go to the Gaza Strip. That's usually where they're launching some of their Scud missiles or whatever, and then the Israelis shoot them down because they got the technology just to basically shoot them out of the sky for the most part. Once in a while something lands somewhere. But they're not going to put us in danger. So if they think there's a dangerous place, we won't go there. Or they'll rearrange the schedule and, we'll go a different day if something's going on. So that is kind of the scoop on safety, because I'm guessing that was, one thing everybody's kind of wondering about. Any questions? Further questions about that?
They rearranged our schedule when we were there before, when Vice President Pence was visiting. And when we were in Jerusalem, they
Yes.
changed things up.
It actually worked to our favor because a lot of tour groups did not go to the Wailing Wall the day we did, because that was the day that Vice President Pence was gonna be at the Wailing Wall. So they kind of cleared it out. Well then, I don't know if we got there before or after him, but we were there and like nobody was there. It's like, oh wow, we just went up to the Wailing Wall instead of large crowds. And then we ended up going on the Temple Mount, which is right next to it. It's hard to tell this on TV if you watch it, but the Wailing Wall is like a giant retaining wall. Behind it is dirt. And then at the top of the Wailing Wall is really where the floor of the temple would have been. And so that's the Temple Mount area, is that level above the Wailing Wall. And so we were able to walk up the wooden ramp. There's a wooden ramp right by the Wailing Wall to get on the Temple Mount area, and nobody else was there. So our guide Olga was really good about it. She's like, we should go there. Like, we weren't planning to go there, but she said, hey, nobody's there. There's no line. We don't have to wait for 2 hours to get on the Temple Mount. So we just went. And that was kind of a cool thing, because the first time we went, we weren't able to go up there. And this is another thing about the tour that everybody needs to know is you got I didn't even bring it, but you got the brochure that says day 1, we're doing this, day 2, we're going to do these 5 things. You have to just remember it might not go that way. And we might see things that aren't on the brochure, and there's probably things in the brochure we aren't going to see just because of what's going on politically, maybe also what's going on with the weather. We're going to keep our eye on the weather. January, it can be all kinds of different weather. It could rain, it could be sunny and nice. It could, be beautiful weather. But Israel, since I'm talking weather, let's just talk about that. Israel is a dry, arid climate for the most part. In the northern part of Israel, it is more like Wisconsin. So when you get up here above the Sea of Galilee, so Sea of Galilee is way up north here. When you get up here above it, which we go all the way to the Syrian border, that's where we go to Caesarea Philippi, and we go to Tel Dan, which, yeah, we got two Dans again on this trip. Their favorite spot is right there, northern border on the Israel, which is a really neat site, by the way. And you see some of the oldest archaeological stuff there. You see a gate where Abraham could have gone through 2000 BC when he went up to Lachish. And anyway, don't worry that you have to know all this, but we'll go through it when we get to Israel. But anyway, up here it's rainy more in the wintertime. So it rained when we went there last time. The first time we went there in January, it didn't rain. And it was nice and sunny, so who knows. But as you go south, it gets more arid. By the time you get down to the Dead Sea, it's just desert, And then, like, you might have 3 layers on up here, long sleeve shirt, and you got a jacket and your raincoat, and then you're swimming in the Dead Sea like 2 days later because it's 80 degrees and sunny.
So you went in January the last time too?
Last 2 times.
No, we went in October, and it was beautiful, it was really nice over there then. I was wondering why we're going in January.
It costs less.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more affordable in January.
Oh, okay.
So we are not at a peak there will be a lot of tour groups we see, but it won't be as busy as fall and spring, and especially spring, because the most popular time is around Easter.
Right.
And then there's just gobs of people. So this is a good time to go because it won't be as crowded. And the weather's still decent. I'm not trying to scare you with that, but it's possible you might see snow flurries in Jerusalem or Bethlehem, because that's 2,500 feet above sea level. But you still could be swimming in the Dead Sea, which is only 15 miles away, the next day, because that's 1,300 feet below sea level, and it's desert. And it's hard for us to get a grasp of that here in Wisconsin because it's pretty. We kind of all have the same climate in the northern half of Wisconsin. So anyway, it'll all be fine. But that gets to kind of packing. You want to pack a variety of clothes, but don't overpack. Okay. Wow, we're still on page 3. The health. So good health is important. I I'm proud of Carol. Carol went to WellFit here in Anago and got checked out. Way to go. And that gave her the go-ahead. I'm going on the trip. So yeah, there's lots of walking, but here's the way. So walking 3 to 5 miles a day. But it's not like Shelley and I walking down Meadow Road and we want to do 2 miles in 30 minutes, and which is hard to do. And it's nice and flat. But we go to a site, we walk around, we go up some steps, we go down some steps. We're on a trail, we're doing whatever, and then we get back on the bus. Then you sit down on the bus and we're traveling to the next spot. So it's not like, we're walking 3 miles. It's not like that. Except maybe Petra is a longer walk, but it sounded like there was some transportation there to get from the bus to Petra, to the inside the system of canyon there. If you've seen pictures of Petra, it's pretty cool. But again, don't worry. It will be okay. And then there might be some times when, and this happened in our last trip, where people got kind of tired and maybe at a site they didn't want to walk so far, so they sat on benches, or they stayed on the bus. The bus is air conditioned. The bus has Wi-Fi.
It's heated.
So I was trying to take pictures, and then when we get on the bus, I'm trying to send them to our Facebook page at Peace so people could kind of watch us as we go along, kind of travel with us. Sometimes it's not great Wi-Fi, but there is Wi-Fi there, and the hotels have Wi-Fi.
I have a question. My kids have been asking me, do our phones work over there, or what do we do?
So you can talk to your phone carrier to find out for sure.
Okay.
But what you can do is, I think what my son plans to do, John, who's going on the trip too, and he's going to be one of our helpers and do devotions and stuff. He's a pastor out in Arizona. But he's going to get a SIM card, I think. You can buy a SIM card over there and stick it in your phone, and it'll work. Now, last time Shelley had a SIM card problem in her phone, and she went to Verizon, and they don't even do SIM cards anymore. It's a virtual SIM card. So I don't know if any of you have phones like that, but I think you can research that on the internet. I'm not too up on that, but what they recommend in this brochure is use an app that uses Wi-Fi. Like you can use Facebook Messenger, and you can talk on that when you're connected to Wi-Fi on the bus or in your hotel. So your phone probably is not going to work all the time, but you can use the internet to make those kind of phone calls, or WhatsApp, if anybody uses that app. Anybody have that one? WhatsApp, it's called? Yeah, so that's another one they mentioned in the brochure here, is you can download that. And we had a German foreign exchange student years ago, and that's what he used to talk to his family. And I think he went off our internet. So there are ways around without having to actually have a functioning cell phone signal.
I never even used my phone when I was over there. I never called home or anything.
Yeah, you don't have to. Right, you don't have to.
That's how I feel. Yeah, you can email, that's what I do.
And you could use Messenger. That's what I thought, just to send.
Yeah, I've used Messenger to do that. So anyway, with your health stuff, I would say, be walking, just keep moving, exercising. That'll help you be ready for the trip. We did have some people that kind of pooped out by the end on the last day or so. And so you do have the option. You could just stay at the hotel if you want to. And that's what some people did, by the way, when they got to about the 8th or 9th day or 7th day or whatever it was. And they spent maybe half the day at the hotel and then joined the group somehow. That was easier to do when we were in Jerusalem I think we're staying at the same hotel, which is the Dan, D-A-N, which is a really nice hotel if you look it up online. But we stayed at that hotel maybe 3 or 4 or 5 nights, I can't remember. So then, we were pretty close to the hotel when we were in the old city of Jerusalem, so the buses are pretty good too about helping us do what we want to do. So I think some people went back, they got picked up maybe by the bus and joined the group halfway through the day. So, I mean, we can do that kind of thing too if people are tired, but I think try to build up some stamina, I would say, is a good thing. I think it's in this brochure too, they say, this is not a vacation, this is a tour. You know, so we're going up sunrise to sunset. By the way, one advantage too of going in January is the day isn't quite as long. You know, sunset's a little earlier, so it gives us a little more rest, which I think probably works to our advantage. But it's a busy day. You know, we have a buffet breakfast, buffet supper at the hotel every day. And then we also stop for lunch, optional if you want to, and that you pay for yourself. Though we are including, we're at least one lunch, maybe 2 lunches in the price. One is gonna be a box lunch that we're gonna eat on the shore of the Sea of Galilee one day. We did that last time, we thought that was kind of cool, so we're gonna do that again. And that was a big meal, as I remember. It was like a big sandwich. And
I have a question
Yeah.
for you. When it comes to lunches, what's the best way to pay?
yeah, so in here, they would say, most places take cash, American dollars.
They won't give you American cash.
You might get shekels as change. Right now, the exchange rate is, a shekel is about a quarter. So their dollar would be called a shekel, but their shekel's only worth about a quarter. And it probably isn't gonna change a huge amount between now and January. So if you just think of, oh, shekel's a quarter, when you get your change back, you can kind of see if you got the right change.
So if it's, you know, if they have a price like 8 shekels, it would be approximately $2, or would you
Yeah.
pay $8?
No.
You would.
No, they might have their prices, because the places we typically stop for lunch are gonna be tour group stops. And you know, we're gonna have 43 people, so we're going to be going to places that can accommodate that. So there's regular restaurant stops for these tour groups, because most of these groups are doing the same kind of tour. Like, we fly into Tel Aviv. The airport is just outside of Tel Aviv to the east. We go to our hotel, which is on the coast of the Mediterranean, north of Tel Aviv, and then we're gonna start going around basically in a clockwise direction. We're gonna go, so, let's see, Jerusalem, so Tel Aviv is right there. By the way, Tel Aviv is the Joppa of the Old Testament. So that's where Jonah took off from to escape trying to preach to the Nineveh. So it's an ancient city, but today it's called Tel Aviv. By the way, the word tel, some of you might know this. What does that mean? Anybody know? What is a tel?
It's when they build on the hill.
It's a hill, but it's a special kind of hill.
It's got ruins underneath it. and they-
Yes, Sarah. You just moved up a few seats in the bus.
How about you got a candy bar or something?
So, tel means that was a big pile of stuff that got ruined and built over and destroyed and built over and destroyed. And they figured Jerusalem was destroyed at least 20 times. And then, they just keep building on top. So then you end up with a mound. So there's all kinds of tells here all over the place. But anyway, flying to Tel Aviv, the first day we're going to go up to Caesarea Philippi, or Caesarea Maritime, which is on the coast. That's our first day. And then go inland to Mount Carmel, where Elijah fought the prophets of Baal. And then Megiddo. And then we go to Nazareth, which is all in this area, same area. And then we stay the next night, our second night is right in Tiberias, right on the coast of the Sea of Galilee. And we stay there a couple nights, and we're gonna go north from there, and we come back, and then we go to Capernaum. So we spend a couple days in this region, and then we're gonna make our way down to the south. We're gonna end up in Jerusalem, wherever that is, right here is Jerusalem. And that's going to be a launching point for several other places. Bethlehem's only 5 miles away, Dead Sea, a couple days in Jerusalem, seeing sights. And then we will cross the border to Jordan And then we're gonna go down to Petra, which is way down here, actually. It's pretty far south. It's like way down here. And then go back, go to Mount Nebo, and then we're flying out of Amman, which is somewhere on here. Anyway, we fly out of Amman, which is a big city.
I want to get back to the currency. So when you guys went over, did you exchange money here before you left?
I
No.
remember, I thought we did.
So did
No, we
you
didn't.
just use American money over there?
Well, you can also, in the airport, they have an exchange place. You can do money exchange in the airport before,
Right, I know that.
when we
I
land.
think when we went, we got them before we left.
There were some people last time we went who did do the money exchange here, like through Covantage or something, I guess. I don't know, or maybe Chase Bank would be able to do that, I think. We didn't bring any shekels there. We just, if we thought we needed some, we just got some from a money exchange.
Also, they've got really good apps for your phone for exchange rates. You get on Wi-Fi, it updates to the currency exchange rate right at that time. You can plug anything in it from euros to shekels.
Siri, what's the exchange rate for a shekel?
There you go.
She'll tell you.
Credit cards are.
By the way, the hotels, some of those big hotels too might do money exchange in their lobbies.
Small amounts typically.
Yeah.
I think we use our credit card,
That's
regular
what I was
credit
wondering.
cards,
Yeah,
when
they-
you, like at the Olive Wood Factory.
That's what I was wondering, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
If you do gift shopping and like we stop at an olive wood factory and they have some beautiful stuff there made out of olive wood. I didn't bring my little Jesus sculpture along, but anyway, beautiful nativity scenes. Some people bought them and had them shipped back. I mean, you can spend $50,000 on nativity scene. But they have other sizes too. But yeah, they take credit card.
There are times they allow, vendors to come on the bus that have been, I mean, they're good people, they're not, trying to rob us or anything, but they'll come and sell, but that's like 3 scarves for $20, or sometimes it's silver pieces of jewelry with the crosses. So that would be, and Olga won't let anyone on the bus who's not giving us some nice,
Right.
it'll be good
She won't let
quality.
shady folks in.
No, so that will be cash, that's not charged or anything.
Oh, I didn't. Is that true?
Yeah, they didn't,
No, we
Just
didn't
cash?
have that when we went, they did not do that.
our first time they didn't do that, the second time, right? They had the scarves outside the bus, but not.
I think
the
we got that
necklace guy
jewelry the
was-
first time. I don't know.
Anyway,
I don't
so,
That's a good thought.
some things won't be. There are
But-
a lot of things that were closed because of COVID that might not be open that we might remember, like the bread carts in Old Jerusalem, remember where the Lutheran Tower was? That type of stuff, some of those shops I was told were not open.
Who told you?
Connie's,
Denninger?
Myers.
Oh.
I'm trying to think.
Did you
Yeah.
just talk to him? Sorry, we're just having this little conversation.
PLI, or not PLI, out in Best Practices last time, last year,
2 years ago.
was it?
I didn't go last.
Well, it
So
was
that-
more recent.
Well, my guess is a lot of that stuff probably is open these days. And most places, most shops and things will take a credit card. You might want to check your credit card company to see what kind of fee might be involved. Because different credit cards have different fees for exchange rates or for exchanging if you're buying in a foreign country. So that's something worth checking out. Packing tips. I gave you a different handout just on packing.
I have a question on that.
Yes.
Says to take all the original containers versus, I was wondering about, how you have like 2-week containers or, so you don't have quite so much bulk. What I'm getting at? Instead of a whole bunch of individual pill bottles.
There was an issue with people who did not put it in original, I don't remember.
Oh,
what it
you mean
was.
medication?
Yeah,
Yeah.
prescribed medication.
They might want to see the original bottle.
Um,
Yeah.
Medications being in the
Rather than
container versus
Oh, I
the
know, I
daily.
think of it in my original.
Yeah, they,
Um,
somebody ran into an issue.
Yeah. Anyway, basic stuff about packing, I think I kind of already mentioned, but packing layers. Bring a raincoat. What else? Comfortable. You're gonna be walking. This is not a fashion show. You know, you're getting exercise. You don't have to dress up. What else, Shelley?
You had mentioned I think it was you, not the tour company, about going through some tunnel to have waterproof shoes or.
Yes, so we go through Hezekiah's tunnel. But we never went through the water part. We never walked through the water.
I can't remember.
Through what, where? I'm sorry.
Hezekiah's tunnel, we never walked in the water. We didn't walk in the water, did we? No.
We saw it. It was
We
done.
saw a
You
group that
can
went
walk
through.
in the
We
water.
would walk through there
They-
if you wanted.
Yes, like there was a group from a school that went through the water tunnel and they were walking
They
through the water.
wasn't there?
We went through another tunnel that was dry.
Okay.
Yes, so you don't have to do that water. In fact, we never did the water thing ourselves.
Cold to do it then.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
was
I
cold
think
that day.
that wasn't appealing.
This one, we're doing an optional thing at night. You said we're doing
Yes.
some kind of tunnel thing at night.
Yes.
Is that water involved with that?
No. So there's an optional thing I asked to do this time, which is go to see the walls of Jerusalem that are underground. And so it's a pretty cool tour of seeing these gigantic blocks that are like 150 tons of rock. And just the miracle of how did they ever build this stuff? You know, when they put these walls together that formed the temple at the time of Jesus. And so they're like the base, like the foundation stones. So anyway, we didn't see that ever before. So I heard it was a pretty neat tour. So I asked that they put that on. So that's going to be an optional thing. There's a couple optional things at night where you might want to just go to sleep. But then if you're adventurous, we'll hop on a bus and we'll go to, there's a Shroud of Turin display, which is very interesting in Jerusalem. So we've done that the last couple times, and then we added on this wall tour underneath in tunnels or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Toiletries, electric items. That's kind of an important thing about what kind of voltage. They have 220 volts there. So you want the adapter for Israel. Now, I think the easiest way to do this is just probably order it on Amazon or something, you know, and just look for Israel adapter. I mean, a lot of this stuff has become simplified. I'm sure we have one at home that I'll have to dig up from somewhere. Because it's a different kind of plug than what we'd use in our regular sockets here. So the question came up last time we went about hair dryers. Not every hotel may have a hair dryer. My own opinion would be leave it at home, but be natural. Put a hat on. Check out the bag thing there on page 6. We suggest ladies do not bring a purse unless absolutely necessary. We do encourage everyone to bring a small bag for snacks, cameras, etc. while on the motor coach. So I guess it's the size of your purse they're talking about. You don't have to bring the giant bag. So bring a smaller one. And then, what?
They're concerned about like the snatch and dash type of thing.
Yeah, if you're concerned, they do sell, like Shelley has was like a slash-proof purse or something
It's a cross bag.
that, you know,
Just carry it.
is a little more heavy duty. But the other thing about our group, though, is we're going to be together. So you're not going to be wandering the streets of Jerusalem by yourself at night. At least you shouldn't be. And so when we're together during the day at these sites where everybody else is, that's the safest place to be.
Well, and Pastor Dave, I have a little thing I carry, because you're supposed to take your passport everywhere you go. and I hang it around my neck, I have some money in, you know, it's just flimsy, I can put it in my jacket and keep it that way, that's what I do.
Yep.
But now this, the electrical, what did you say about hair dryer? Is it supposed to be like 220 volt? And the curling, that's what I thought, 220 volt.
So you can get an adapter and then
Just
still bring your hair dryer
Right.
if you so choose. What else?
I have a question about bags. So when you were talking about bags, if we're going somewhere and you need a jacket or you don't wanna put your jacket, is it a good idea to have like a backpack you can stuff your rain jacket in? Or is that too big and bulky? Would that be not, you know?
I think I brought a small backpack or something. You can also leave things on the bus. Bus driver stays with the bus is locked. I think that's on here too somewhere.
Right, they say you can leave it on there, they're not responsible if
They aren't-
something's
still
gonna
aren't-
be
Yes.
stolen, but they've been really good, I mean,
Yeah, we've had good bus drivers.
you
And,
don't have to bring everything with you when you get off the bus. We will be leaving.
so you might want to bring a bag with some stuff
Backpacks.
for the day.
Yeah, I think
Sure. That's
so you're ready for anything. But then when you get to a site and it's 72 and sunny, well, I'm gonna leave, you know, the majority of my stuff on the bus.
Bring a empty water bottle.
An empty water
right?
bottle, like
Did
bring
they
it so you
have-
can fill it every morning or no?
They had water bottles on the bus for $1, I think. You could buy a water bottle, or you can fill up your own and bring it. Yep. They always had water though on the bus, which was nice.
I drank it.
We
The
talked
water
about
was
phone.
fine, wasn't it there? I mean, I brought my own water bottle.
Yeah. By the way, on page 10 at the top is a picture of Petra. That's the treasury in Petra. So we'll be down walking through that canyon. So you can look forward to that.
Oh, Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, second movie, Temple of Doom. Watch it, you'll see Petra. What else? Yes.
40-some people going, will we all be able to fit on one tour bus?
Yes.
We weren't gonna go there.
We are going to be on a bus that can accommodate us and have a few extra seats. So they have different size tour buses. They say that somewhere in there too, or somewhere I
Do they
read.
have bathrooms on them?
They do not. It will not have a bathroom on the bus, but every place we stop, there will be toilets. A lot of places we go are national parks. Did you bring the national parks thing, Cheryl?
I brought the box.
So, I mean, you think about how many national parks do we have in Wisconsin? I mean, you have like the National Lake Shores,
You only have one national park.
which is Fossil Islands. And then we have the National Lake Shore up by, oh, that's in UP. Yeah, so we don't have much. But here is the list of all the national parks and national sites in Israel. So when we go visit one, then they punch the card. So we got, I don't know if everybody got one of these or we just got one as a tour leader, but it was kind of
No,
cool.
I think I wanna say everybody got one.
So there's a whole lot of places we didn't see because we didn't have
We
time.
had to, but one we
But
went.
all the little red dots on the map are the national parks. All over. So there's so many places to see. It's pretty cool. Everybody will also get a tour book that looks just like this. So Imagine Tours will mail this to you about 3 weeks. You'll get a little packet about 3 weeks before we leave. It'll have this in it. I think they give you a luggage tag and a few other tidbits to get ready for the tour, plus that brochure that we're already going through. But this is nice because it has all the sites pretty much all the sites that we're going to go to are in this book. And then there's biblical references and you can take notes at each site of what you saw. And here's where I was in the Bible. So that's pretty cool. Shelley took her book apart and put it in a 3-ring binder.
I brought that, but I didn't, yeah, so, but there's not a lot.
There's all her notes.
Oh, stop it. Don't, David.
But-
David.
All right, so there's part of the book. They give you pictures, which is cool, and you're like, oh, okay, so then you can, because you see so many things in one day, it starts to like, oh, it's going, but so that you can kind of keep track and, you know, snap some pictures as you go along. I don't know. This stuff's pretty self-explanatory on this sheet. Other questions that we didn't answer?
You may have answered it, but I wasn't paying attention about snacks and stuff. Did you mention that you could or should bring some?
On the bus, you mean?
Yes.
They suggested it, just, and I'll tell you, the spread that people at the hotels, people would bring maybe an extra banana or something like that, just to eat on the, cause we don't really stop for snacks along the way, we'll eat lunch. And you get hungry.
You will not lack
You
food.
will not.
And the reason is, these hotels that we're staying at, they're like, I think in the brochure they said like a Courtyard Marriott or, you know, Sheraton or the Holiday Inn or whatever.
And they cater
They're
to
nice.
Americans.
Yes. Now they do have, I mean, they're gonna serve the cuisine of Israel, but they also will have a bunch of American food.
Right.
One thing you will not ever have is pork, because they don't eat pork there. So that means no bacon, no ham, no Johnsonville brats, you know.
There's something about the butter, you don't get it at night, right?
No,
Or,
you're going.
no, so which is hard with the rolls.
I always took it in my purse. 'Cause I would read, but I
Write that tip down. Butter in the purse.
I found that out they could, and
It
I
was
thought,
really, I was so, yeah,
I know, I don't know why, it had something to put it
do with the
in.
dairy.
The pastry looks really good, but it has surprises in
What was in it?
it. Fish.
Where's fish?
You think it's gonna be sweet when you take a bite of it?
Really?
Well, I'll let you take a bite first. And then I'll decide if
I don't remember that. There was a lot of salads with olives. If you like olives, you're gonna love Israel, because that's a big thing there. Yeah, it was a good variety. It's a good variety.
And get it paid for the wine.
As long as we're talking about food, this box lunch that we have on the seashore, is that gonna be bread and fish?
It'll be
There will be
but
bread.
Probably not fish.
I don't think we had a choice of what it was.
No.
Good idea, though.
Serious question though, you said that if you, and this will probably be addressed a lot later, but if you, don't go with the tour, which I don't expect that I wouldn't go with the tour, but, and you stayed at the motel or hotel, is it safe then to go from the hotel out and look around or not?
Well, like in Jerusalem, I would talk to the tour guide,
Tell it.
and I'd talk to the hotel maitre d' or the
There were
concierge.
There were some people who did stay back and they did go walking and checked out some shops around. Even when we were at our first hotel, they went down to the beach. I think they went, well, anyway. You know, it's usually during the day, which is safe. Like in Jerusalem, you don't wanna be out at night, pickpocketers and whatever. If you're, you know, you will be a target because, you know, we're Americans, so. But, I mean, you
It's
just.
you probably could walk around if you want to. But I would just check. The tour guide would know for sure.
And they would even have good suggestions as what to see and do.
I have another question. In this brochure, it says about the COVID tests and vaccinations. Is there any restrictions on that today?
Nope, no requirements, no vaccinations needed, no vaccination cards, no masks, no, nothing like that. Now, things could always change, you don't know,
Yeah,
but
that's why I said today.
today, there is no restrictions.
Okay. And one more question, how rough is the up and downs, and would a person need trekking poles for any of this, or is it basically boardwalking kinda?
Yeah, you don't need that. I wouldn't bring anything like that.
Okay.
It's what I would say is, it's like walking around on an uneven path sometimes, because you're in ruins. Like a couple examples. When we went to Dan, Tel Dan, it was raining that day, so we actually didn't walk all the way to where Jeroboam's altar is, which hopefully we can do that this time. But so there's stones. We walk over stones that are very ancient, that form the city gate for the city of Dan. And we stop there and we talk about what the city gate was like, and you know why this. But it's stone pavement, and it's not always even. So you're walking on kind of an uneven surface. You just have to, be careful a little bit, and then up some steps, and then you're walking on a dirt path, and then you end up where Jeroboam's altar was when he was sacrificing to false gods because he didn't want to go to Jerusalem, and he wanted to have his own thing going in the northern kingdom. But anyway, so that kind of stuff where you go up some steps, and I told Carol about this too. When we go to Megiddo, you don't have to do this, but our tour guide will lead us down this spiral staircase that has about 165 steps, and we go down into this. Basically, it's a well or cistern, and down there was that's where they stored their water. Maybe there was an underground river at one time, and that's where they hid out and protected themselves. And then we walk out on a path that goes out on a flat surface.
Steep.
It's not steep when we walk out. So we actually walk up, and then we walk down the spiral staircase. And now again, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. You don't have to do that part. You can just go to the bus from up above, and you'll be fine. So some of that, I think you're just going to have to, be careful with what you're able to do, and that's okay.
And I think if people feel, they might walk steadier with something, I mean, they're more than welcome to bring stuff like that.
Yeah, I would say it's not
Whatever-
against the rules.
Whatever
But I don't
you
think
would be comfortable with walking through the woods here, do you have, right? I mean, that's sort of going up by Kettle Bowl or type of walking through the Ice Age Trail.
Well, and every trail we're on is well beaten down because there's tour groups every day that go do the same trails. So this is, and there are times we're on a boardwalk or we're at Masada and we ride this cable car all the way to the top, and then we walk around in the ruins of Masada. And I think some people might want to walk down Masada instead of taking the cable car. We'll have to talk about that too, probably when we get there, but you might have to start heading down right away. And actually, I'd kind of like to do that too. But anyway, there's a few optional kind of things as far as how much you want to exert yourself. Thanks for coming, Joan. I will post this in case, this goes on for a couple more
Yeah,
months.
that sounds good, thank you.
Let's see, other things. I want to talk about the bus just a little bit. And so our plane right now this could change because plane schedules change. But right now I think we're due to fly out of Chicago about 9:30 or 9:45 p.m. on the 15th, which is a Monday. So the bus is going to start here, Lamer's coach bus, and we're going to go to Green Bay and pick up 4 people now with Nora. She's going to meet us there too now. So there's 4 people that'll meet us there, and then we drive down and we'll stop for supper, probably at the Oasis right when you get into Illinois on the Tri-State Tollway, whatever that one's called. But anyway, there's an Oasis there. We'll just pull off because it's easy. Have lunch or have supper there before we get to the airport. They recommend we get to the airport 3 hours early because of the size of our group, and we're doing international travel. So I'll have to figure out those times and talk to Lamers and just make sure we're leaving soon enough and allow, there's probably going to allow some flex time in there driving through Milwaukee. That was originally what I said, but I have to talk to Lamers more about that to see what they think. I think they're the ones who's kind of scheduled it that way. Yeah, that's probably still okay. It might end up being a little bit earlier. Maybe it'll be 10. but we'll figure it out.
You'll let us know what area of the parking lot to leave our vehicles if they're sitting here?
Yeah, when we come that day and park our cars, I think we'll just go all the way down in the west parking lot here and just get them out of the way.
Isn't that where they plow the snow in the winter though?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, good point.
So when we get back, we won't have cars, that's all.
It'll be buried under Snow Mountain. So we make a big mountain of snow and the kids slide down during recess. Yeah, okay, so it won't be there. It'll probably be on this one.
So do we tip anybody? Do we need money for tipping?
Okay, so the rule on tips is all the tips are included in your fee. Unless let's say you get to the airport and you have somebody help you or something, but once you're there, once you're off the airplane and you get on the tour bus, all the tips are included.
The tour guide is included with that? That she
Yes.
did something? Okay.
Yes,
Though.
it's all included.
Every trip we've been on with this Israel trip, we've offered people to give more to the guide and pass something around, and they can add more if they want, but we'll have money for her as well as the bus driver. But sometimes, they really go beyond what they're supposed to do and make it really special, so I think we
Do you
gave
feel like you should do something?
something more. But it's
Yes, as long as everybody understands that is optional.
Yes.
And we do give a nice tip we give lots of tips out, and that's part of our job, by the way. Me, and then also John and Kaylee and Stephanie. So the five of us really are kind of helping to manage all that. But like, we will give tips to the maitre d' at the restaurant, to the hoteliers, or the people that move your bag, because they will take it from your bus to your room. And they'll take it you put your baggage outside your room, and they take it to the bus, and they load it up. So those people all get tips, and that's all included. The guide, obviously, and the guides, more than one guide, and the bus driver, and yeah, that's all part of the package.
What size of a big suitcase can you take?
So up to 50 pounds,
You
but
have to carry it.
I actually,
You can carry it.
we'll have to double check. Yes. Oh, but yeah, that's a good point, Shelley. If you bring it, you got to carry it.
We've dealt with
Most airlines, it's 50 pounds,
I know, but is there any
full
dimensions?
size.
probably. I'm almost positive we are flying Turkish Airlines. You can go on the Turkish Airlines website and they will give you that information.
Yeah, like what size is about 50 pounds?
But you can check one bag for free. You can bring one carry-on for free. You can bring one bag under your seat for free. You get 3 pieces, which should be plenty.
So for carry-on, if you're carrying on shampoo, that type of stuff, how many ounces can you carry
It's
on?
only 3, I think. It has to be small.
Per bottle? I think it's
Yeah.
Do they have to be labeled with soaps and that?
No, hotels have soaps and like,
Those don't have to be labeled, I don't think.
no.
So I would put those in my check, just because sometimes they get pretty persnickety about what is
Put 'em
this
where?
in your check
That
bag,
goes under. Oh,
and then
Yeah.
your carry-on.
well, like your toothpaste, they'll be labeled.
Yeah.
I mean,
You can put big bottles in your check baggage.
Yeah.
And those bitty ones, 'cause
You
people
can-
hold the
I
toothpaste,
know.
So it must be that little travel.
By the way, you can bring back 1 bottle of alcohol duty-free. Just so you know. And we brought pomegranate wine back. Didn't we? Yeah. Well, anyway, you'll experience some things there that you might want to bring back.
And the lotion or the stuff from
Oh, I have a brochure about the Dead Sea mineral lotions and all the, because we're gonna go to a store along the Dead Sea that makes all this stuff out of the minerals, all these cosmetic products and whatever. So they'll want to sell some of that to you.
Bring your swimsuit for the Dead Sea. Shoes that you can wear in the water. You'll be a bobber, yeah. water shoes, so that.
All right, does anybody think of anything else to cover? I think,
I mean, and shoot
I think
us
that was
any
everything I had.
emails with questions too.
Pastor Dave, I did have the Turkish airline, I think that's who it was, contacted me because they wanted to see if my diabetic diet was okay.
Oh.
And they also listed all different kind of diets, you know, if you're totally a vegetarian or a very strict diet for your meals on the plane.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
wow.
And, they.
Anybody else get contacted?
No, but, so if there's anybody that's worried about their meal on the plane, they should contact the Turkish airline.
Did you list something on your registration about that?
We must have for the tour company,
Oh,
yeah.
so then they, well, that's good to
Yeah.
hear.
And then they told me everything that was on it, was that okay?
Okay, so you must have indicated a dietary need of some sort, and then,
So if there's anybody that's on some special diet, you know, they can contact them and they'll get them on a special, and they get served first usually.
oh, so let me just, I'm gonna say that out loud in case you didn't hear that, and also for the recording. But if you have a special dietary need of any kind, let Imagine Tours know that, and they will pass that on to the airlines. And then Peggy got contacted by Turkish Airlines about her dietary needs and want to make sure she has the right food on the airplane, and she's going to get served first. I'm calling them tomorrow. Like, I have dietary need of cheeseburger or a T-bone steak. See if that works. Okay, so last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to turn this off, is this isn't just a tour. This is going to be a spiritual experience. This is a faith deepening journey that we're going on. And to me, that's the best part about this whole thing, is you're going to be immersed in the Bible for this whole time. We're going to be starting every day with devotions. We're going to have devotions at pretty much every site we go to. I just was working out the devotion schedule with the rest of my leadership team, making sure they're all on board with me here as I divide them up. So that's going to be exciting. And I think, what do you do in preparation? I think reading your Bible, especially the Gospels, dig into Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And that's going to help you.
People brought their Bibles too, to write in. I mean,
Yeah, there are journaling Bibles in too that you can get, or have space in them on the sides of the pages. Yes, I use my phone personally, and then sometimes I take a screenshot of the Bible passage that went with a certain place and stick it in my notes on my phone, just to take some notes. But whatever works for you. There's lots of ways to do that. There's probably a Bible app for Israel. And then use that. But anyway, I think preparing yourself by getting into the Word and then, praying. And again, flexibility is really important. But if we're doing this as a spiritual faith journey, hey, God's in charge of this whole thing. We don't have to worry about how, the flights. There was some limit on how many people could get on the group flight and all that kind of stuff. And like even our kids, they're not flying in our group, and they're all flying different. I don't know how they're getting there, but we're all going to end up in Israel together, one way or another. So we just keep that in our prayers. Just, that we all, everything goes as smoothly as possible. And when it doesn't, guess what? God's still in that too. And there is an experience to be had, even when it doesn't go according to plan. So, yes, so I think, like when they didn't stamp my passport in India, and then they didn't want to let me out of the country, and we had to stay an extra night and go to the,
oh my gosh,
whatever it was.
And
And nobody spoke English. But we survived. It was a good experience. Made for a good sermon illustration later. So anyway, I think just keeping all that in mind is really helpful. All right, I'm going to close with prayer. I invite you to take a look at some of the stuff I put up on the table, some of the places we're going to go, the maps and stuff. There's some shells here from the Mediterranean, a rock from somewhere. I had some rocks in my office. I forgot to bring them down because I take them into school. And then when I'm teaching the kids about Sea of Galilee, I say, oh. Or one of the places I hope we go to that we didn't last time was the Valley of Elah. I don't think we went there, did we? And saw where David battled Goliath, and we go to a riverbed, and I brought some stones back, like 5 smooth stones. This is the place where David did this. This is so cool. So we will be seeing some new spots. By the way, Sarah's brother, also Seth, had the request that, hey, let's stop at the cliffs of Nazareth and see where they were going to throw Jesus off, when he had his first sermon. So I'm going to contact, or I'll talk to Olga about that when we get there. Because, yeah. And so that there's just so many things to see, and it'll be a great experience. All right. We are going to close with a prayer. Lord Jesus, thanks for blessing our time together here tonight, just for the opportunity to take this kind of a trip that just ultimately deepens our faith and connects us more to your word. We just pray that you watch over all the arrangements here in these next 4 months as we get ready to go. And we know, Lord, it's all in your hands, and we will follow where your will leads. Bless people as they drive home tonight, too. Just keep them safe. And in your name we pray. Amen. Okay, thanks, everybody. See you later.